Old World, Florida. Dr. Malco Longo.
Brought to you by the Florida Department of Magic. Welcome to Florida, baby.
Florida is the original Garden of Eden.
Florida has the highest concentration of freshwater springs in the world.
Florida oranges are the golden apples of mythology. A race of giant men once roamed this peninsula. The Smithsonian can suck my balls.
Florida is littered with many ancient megalithic ship anchors, known as Saxor stones.
I'm bringing Saxor back.
Noah's Ark was constructed out of gopher wood. Gopher wood only grows one place in the world, Florida. Florida is the birthplace of the United States. The first Thanksgiving was in Florida. Let the black drink flow.
Orange man good. Click his way out of Florida. World, Florida.
What's up, everybody? Happy Saturday. Welcome to the casting couch. Have a seat. Okay. It's January 17th. I'm coming to you live from the Dancing Elephant Bookstore, Lake Worth Beach, Florida. And we're going to be talking about the planets behind each major world religion. Now, this is a pretty hot topic recently. It seems with all the noticing going on, people are kind of realizing Saturn's role in a lot of global conspiracies, but not enough is being said about the other planets, the other religions, and how Saturn shows up in the other religions. Not just one religion, but so tonight we're going to we're going to go through each of the world religions and show which planet do they consciously, unconsciously worship, venerate, draw influence from. And some of them are real clean and neat. Some of them are a little messy and harder to make sense of. But this is a crucial show, okay? Because this is going to equip people to really understand the true essence of the religions. Because you got all these idiots saying stuff like, all paths are valid. It's all really just the same thing at the end of the day, right? Isn't it just love and acceptance, and they're all the same? Every religion's the same, right? Isn't that how the mark of an intelligent person is saying everything's just the same, right? Well, astrologically, no. Astrologically, astrology is how we really sort things out. Okay, it's the real objective method of discovering something's essence, is tracing it back to a planet or a sign of the zodiac. That's just the way it is. All other arts and sciences come from astrology. So, and there's great mnemonic tricks. My brother's here. Maybe he could talk about it. Memory, tricks for memory. Reducing things to their astrological association or rulership or essence is a great way to catalog information in your body and just out in the natural world, right? Okay. Astrology helps us make sense of things, right? And that's what we're going to do with these religions. Let me put us over at our little spot there. So yeah, guys, we're going to be talking about, everyone talks about Saturn and Judaism, but I think they're really ignoring a lot of the other connections. So we're going to make sense of it all tonight. But before we get too deep into it, Merlin, what's up with you, man?
Same old, man. Living the dream. Looking forward to this episode. Like many of our episodes, it's going to clear up a lot of misconceptions, like you were just talking about. That word essence is great. It has the word is. What something is its isn't, its essence. And, understanding the essence is essential. So this is really going to hit home on a lot of, what I would consider essential knowledge, because, astrology is it's always understanding the stars and the planets, but it's also understanding how they manifest in our reality and how it legitimately is a science that affects you. So this is going to be a pretty cool one.
Totally. Merlin was live earlier today on his channel. Go check that out. Wise Wizard Merlin, Wise with a Z. But all right, y'all, let's get into it. Merlin's got a nice little slideshow here, and we're just going to riff, but okay. Now, it would be easy to start with Saturn and Judaism, right? But that would just be too easy. And first, I want to establish the type of relationship planets can have with religions before we just, go all in on Saturn and Judaism. Hang on, we'll get there. Okay, I know. And Islam. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But Jupiter is the planet associated with Christianity. And this is one we just got to get it out of the way. Okay. People hate hearing about Jesus and astrology. A lot of people love it. The astrotheology people, they're aware of this, but a lot of Christians, good Christians, are allergic to the idea of Jesus having any association with a heavenly body. Now, I think that's just silly, because when we look at Satan or Satan, who is clearly, there's no denying Saturn is identified Satan is identified with the planet Saturn.
Mm-hmm.
No one will deny that or refute that. Why is it so preposterous to think Jesus might also have a beacon in the heavens? We're not saying Jesus is just the planet Jupiter or just the sun, right? But there's an undeniable influence to his archetype, whatever you want to call it, right? And Thursday is somewhat of a holy day within Christianity. So we know Sunday is the primary day of worship, but Thursday shows up a bit too. I'd say it's the preferred holy day of Christianity outside of Sunday. So we've got the sun and Jupiter. Thursday is Thor's day. That's Jupiter's day. So the days of the week is one of the ways we're going to be able to make sense of this. Right off the bat, Jews worship on Saturday, Christians worship on Sunday, and Muslims worship on Friday. So that's the first clue right there. Oh, here, let me get this off the screen. There, now we can see your guys' comments on screen.
Sweet.
Becky Teresa became a member. Thanks, Becky. So we're looking at Jupiter. Sorry, excuse me. Freudian slip or something. I don't know. We're looking at Jesus, a particularly kind of angry or woke up on the wrong side of the stone Jesus. This isn't the dreamy Jesus that we get in some other paintings, but a lot of people say Jesus, white Jesus, oh, that's fake and blah, blah, blah. Cesare Borgia. Don't you know that's Cesare Borgia? Jesus is modeled after Cesare Borgia. Guys, long before Cesare Borgia was ever even born, people knew Jesus was at least in part modeled after Jupiter or Jove or Zeus or one of the Platonic, or Greek philosophers, right, with the beard and the robes. And Jesus was modeled after, at least visually, modeled after Jupiter long before Cesare Borgia ever came around. And by the way, Jesus was white, so you can take that to the bank. Sorry, folks, but regardless, Jesus, the flesh and bone, real man, was not the planet Jupiter. That's not what we're trying to say. But Jesus was Team Jupiter. Yahweh, the breath of life, I'm going to equate to Jehovah. So when Jesus is identified with Yahweh over and over again, you can take that to mean whatever you want it to mean. But no one can deny that Yahweh, aka Jehovah, is very closely linked to Jove. Jehovah, Jove. Yahweh is the breath of life. It's the sound of inhalation, right? And, yep. Jesus is Jesus. Hey, Zeus, how you doing today?
Yeah.
Right.
If he was a Mexican, it'd be Jesus. Yeah.
Exactly. That's Jesus. And so I think Jesus was a real person, 100%. But there's multiple things that can be true at the same time. Was Jesus's life, was a solar myth, a solar hero archetype attached to Jesus after his life? Yes. Rome did have a solar religion that was then attached and kind of hybridized, fused with the new Christianity movement. That's not Jesus's fault. Okay, that's where all the solar stuff comes from. Again, the Bible doesn't say December 25th, which was Jesus's birthday. Doesn't say that. That comes from the solar myth, the astrotheology, the universal religion. And there's nothing wrong with that. Christians have every right to acknowledge and celebrate the solstices and the equinoxes. Why are we going to give paganism a monopoly on that stuff? It's silly. Ditch the superstition. Christians have just as much of a right to recognize and celebrate the solstices and equinoxes. And, they do already. Christianity uses astrology to determine holidays like Easter.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about this in other shows, but all right, about Jupiter, there's a sun component to Jesus, the solar component, and then there's the Jupiterian component. Hang on, 2 planets and 1 person. How does that work? Well, the Trinity makes less sense than that, but that's besides the point. Being the Father and the Son makes perfect sense when we're talking about Jupiter and the Sun. There's a Jupiter component to Jesus. Jupiter's a father archetype. Okay. Saturn is the grandfather, false father, stepfather, or godfather archetype. That's Saturn. Jupiter is the righteous father. Okay. And in fact, we say pater or pater, padre, from Jupiter. Jupiter.
Patron.
Yep. All father words come from Jupiter, believe it or not.
Patriarchy, paternal. Yep.
Yep. And so being the Father and the Son at the same time, that makes sense when you have Jupiter and the Sun both being in the picture. Now, how does Jesus exhibit Jupiterianism? Forgiveness, righteousness, right? Benevolence. He's wealthy, okay? On his own terms, right? By his own definitions, he's extremely wealthy.
Yeah.
King, royalty, riches, beyond. That's all very Jupiterian. The jackpot, that's that Jupiter energy. 21, 777, right? But Merlin, please chime in.
Yeah, Jesus is the King of Kings and Jupiter is King of the Gods. So right there you've got a Jesus-Jupiter connection, very, very easily seen there.
Great point. King of Kings, the God of Gods, Mount Olympus for Jupiter or Zeus.
Yeah.
Mount Olive for Jesus. Mount Olympus, Mount Olive. What planet rules olives in astrology?
Jupiter.
The fattest planet.
Yeah.
The fattest fruit and the fattest planet. Fat is ruled by Jupiter. Greece is ruled by, I think, Venus. That's a little different, but fat in terms of mass without much density, because that's what fat is. Fat's not that dense, actually. Muscle's dense. Bone is a little more dense. Fat, and Jupiter rules the kidney, the fattest organ. It's believed that that spear in the side didn't hit his heart, but it may have hit his liver.
Mm-hmm.
The liver is ruled by Jupiter, the biggest planet, the biggest organ, the least dense planet, and the largest, the fattest planet, and the fattest organ. That's the liver. And go ahead.
What's cool is Jupiter rules wisdom as well. And going back to the Mount Olympus, Mount Olive connection, the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus dropped wisdom on Mount Olive, completely, extremely Jupiterian in fashion right there. I mean, the Sermon on the Mount is like, you need more than that, but that is so much of the wisdom of the Bible, like just right there, I think,
Yeah. So let's see, what other links are there? Mount Olympus. Okay, here. Jesus had father Joseph, mother Mary. Well, Joseph or Yosef can be traced back to Seth. So Yosef, Seth, then go back even farther, or I guess farther across the Middle East, from Seth to Set, then from Set to Saturn. This is Saturn, the false father, the godfather, the stepfather. Joseph. Saturn is the stepfather, and Joseph is a stepfather of sorts. So Yosef, Seth, Set, Saturn. Saturn, Set, Seth, Yosef. You guys see that nice, smooth transition? And then Mary, what does she have to do with it? Well, who is Saturn's wife or his consort? Rhea. Mary, Maria, Rhea. So you got Joseph, Mary, Saturn, and Rhea. Jupiter and Jesus. Pretty clear cut, right?
Yeah,
And none
and
of, go ahead.
allegedly the moon is the vehicle that literally manifests everything on Earth. All souls come in through the moon. And if the moon is Mary or Rhea, the moon does rule area as well. Jesus literally manifested through the moon.
Mm-hmm.
In that context.
Yeah, and we're going to revisit that concept when we get to Shiva later on, the connection between Saturn and the moon. At first, it might seem like they have nothing to do with each other, but their goals or their functions are actually very similar. They bring density to the equation. Okay. Let's flip through some more visuals here. Let's see some other Jesus.
Sure.
ones.
So very Jupiterian, healing, benevolence. Jupiter, or rather Jesus, he was not a mean guy at all. And like Longo said last episode, a quote from the ancients is that if Jupiter were the only planet in the sky, we would know nothing except for feasting, joy, and reverie, or something to that nature. And that's what Jesus wants for us. Of course, there's a hardship path we must all follow. Like, this is not what God intended. But Jupiter is, or rather Jesus is extremely benevolent, and Jupiter is the most benefic planet. And then, of course, to bring in the sun aspect too, the sun is benevolent as well. The sun is literally what gives us life. Without the rays of the sun, we would not be able to grow crops. There would be no precipitation for the earth to be watered. So it's just incredibly benefic.
Right.
The Last Supper. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, if we're talking about Jesus, we've got to be talking about Yahweh too. And as much as people want to say, oh, Yahweh is vengeful and this and that, not necessarily. Okay, we got to know how we're kind of naming God and how we're understanding God through each of his names. Yahweh is said to be forgiving. Okay, Yahweh is the breath of life. And when we see when we see people saying, oh, Yahweh is a regional deity and that was constructed and taken in the Hebrews, it was actually competitive monotheism. They wanted their Yahweh to be better than the next tribe's number one God. So they said, our God's the only God. And, all right, even if you're going to go that route, even if we're going to say, oh, he was just a local deity who got, exalted or brought up to the status of God of everything. Well, guys, even then they say Yahweh was a storm deity, Jupiter, the storm god. Okay. Yahweh. It's just Jove under another name. It's just Jupiter or Zeus under a different name. So when Jesus is talking to God, it's almost like he's speaking to the Jupiterian form versus the Saturnian form. Because right back in the Garden of Eden, people are going to say, oh, this is heretical. This is nonsense. Well, who's Elohim, people? Who's the plural Elohim? I'm not saying it's a group of gods, but the traditional mystical interpretation of what Elohim is a council. God has a council that helps him create, his council of co-creation of, and essentially this is the 7 planets. Elohim is the chairman of the board. Okay, he's at the front of the table, head of the table. So his name is at the beginning there. Elohim. El is Saturn. El is Saturn. Yahweh is Jupiter. So Elohim might even include Jupiter as the council, God's council that he creates with. But El is the boss. Now, maybe somewhere along the line, Jupiter dethroned Saturn. That's a part of Roman mythology, Greek mythology too, and biblical mythology. But okay, let's flip through some more pictures.
The Last Supper.
The Trinity. People say, well, what about the Trinity? What does Jupiter have to do with the Trinity? Well, guys, Thor's hammer is not only a cross, but it's also, depending on how you look at it, 3-pointed. Thor's hammer is almost a trinity. That one's a cross, but sometimes you see them where they're flat. It looks more like triangular. But also, it's Thursday. It's the 3 day. It's the Trinity day. It's third day. Thor is the third eye, too. Jupiter points us to the third eye. Jupiter has a storm, a red dot on the planet. They call it a storm, right? Isn't that funny? The storm god with the big red pimple on his forehead. That's actually a storm, right? That red dot that the Hindus put on their forehead, what do they call it? The bindi?
I'm not sure.
I think they call it a bindi. Dot on Indian's forehead. Bindi, yeah, they call it a bindi. And the bindi is there to harmonize with the planet Jupiter. It's auspicious. It's a benevolent thing to have that red dot. And number one, it's marking the third eye, but that is in harmony. It's sympathetic to Jupiter, the red dot, the storm god, third eye, guys. It's like,
and then when you have a third eye, it makes a triangle with your other eyes. And talking about Jupiter and Trinity is like a quick little astrology lesson. If, like right now, Jupiter is in Cancer, when the sun is in Cancer and Jupiter's in Cancer, they're going to be conjunct. It'll be a Sun-Jupiter conjunction. When the sun enters Scorpio, that's when Jupiter will begin to retrogress. So the retrogression pattern will begin in the other water sign. And then right now the sun's in Capricorn. It was just opposite Jupiter. When the sun enters Pisces, that is when Jupiter's retrogression will end, and then it will progress into Leo. And Jupiter is all about trining the sun. It lives to trine. And the trine, if you understand astrology, is the most benefic aspect. So Jupiter's all about trines. And then on top of that, the domiciles of Jupiter trine the luminaries. The sun rules Leo, Saturn rules Sagittarius. They trine. The moon rules Cancer. Jupiter rules Sagittarius. My apologies. And then Jupiter rules Pisces. They trine. So Jupiter was put here to trine the sun. That's literally its job, and it does everything it can to do that. There's no denying that. That is the pattern, paternal. That's what Jupiter does. It trines the sun. So
yeah, here to say that one more time too. That's my favorite thing you've ever said. Is I don't know where you got it, but
again, Marty Lee. It's all credit, man. But
pattern recognition. Say that.
Yeah, pattern recognition, paternal recognition. God is the Father, and
seeing the Father in everything.
Seeing the Father in patterns. That it's so obvious, guys. God puts patterns here, and he's like, look at me, look at my creation. And people are just going around life, just looking at their phones, not looking at the skies, not understanding astrology or intelligent design. And people are completely shut off and oblivious to these beautiful patterns that God put here for us to study and learn from. And folks, that's what we're doing here today. We're studying and we're learning from God's patterns, the Father, the patriarch of us all.
Mhm. Totally. So let's go to Thor's hammer for a little bit.
Cool.
Thor's hammer, any type of it. Okay, the type with the block on top, the one where it's more like the sacred icon from Halo. Okay, like just a capital T shape, and then the one where it's a lowercase t shape. Those symbols are Jupiterian. Now Mars shows up. Okay, they're associated with Mars in the rune, but that Mars rune collapses into Sagittarius when we put the runes into the zodiac. 24 runes, pure runes into the zodiac. That Mars rune, which is the T. And I'm saying this because I know this will be someone who's, smart and kind of knows a lot of this will say, well, what about T being very martial? T words and the letter T being the T rune or Mars rune. So I'm trying to answer that before it gets levied at us, that the T rune, which is associated with Mars, is associated with Sagittarius, which is Jupiterian. So Jupiter and Mars come together in the sign of Sagittarius. Okay. And the runes help us make sense of that. So, and the runes are important when we're talking about Thor's hammer, but all these thunder gods had hammers that created thunder, right? The sparks from the anvil would be lightning, and the thunder would be the ringing or the thud or the impact of this hammer, right? The gravity hammer from Halo, very Jupiterian concept. But yeah, so the cross in Northern Europe, you had crosses 1,000 years before Jesus, more 2,000 years. I don't know. Is there even such a thing as 1,000 years? I don't know. Are we just Cabbage Patch Kids? I don't know. Just kidding. But the Thor's hammer is the original cross, religious cross symbol. There's also like the sky cross or the medicine wheel, the medicine cross. That cross is kind of like the North Pole or the four corners of the earth, the four corners of the sky. That's sometimes associated with Jupiter too, but the cross is Thor's hammer. So we've got all this evidence, all these links between Jupiter and Jesus. Christianity is very Jupiterian. It's easier said than done, I guess, but I would say Christianity is the most peaceful religion, believe it or not. Okay. People say, oh, Hinduism, Buddhism. No. Okay, go learn some history. Plenty of Buddhist empires and Hindu empires fighting and slaughtering each other. I mean, go read a Hindu holy book. It's like Star Wars level warfare. Planets getting erased, like deleted, and
Yeah, the backdrop of the Bhagavad Gita is literally a story being told while the most epic battle that ever happened on Earth is literally raging in the background.
Yep.
And then at the end, everyone's dead. So
yeah, exactly. And so there's a lot of peace, forgiveness. Also, going back to Trinity, a lot of TR words are Jupiterian. True, triumph, travel. What are some other ones?
let's see. True, triumph, travel.
That's pretty good.
Tread. I mean, that's you walk to tread the earth.
Well, it's like travel, yeah.
Yeah, very similar.
But all right, that captures the essence of it. Okay, so I think that's most of what we can say about Jupiter and Jesus. Flip through some slides, see what else
Sure.
might
And
jog our
just
memory.
just to point out too, real quick, down here on the Thor's
Trumpet.
hammer, a lot of trumpet, nice. A lot of Thor's hammers are depicted with a little triune symbol there too. It's just a heads up.
Great point. Yeah, what's the symbol on Thor's hammer? The triquetra is shown on Thor's hammer. Whosoever holds the hammer. Oh wait, never mind. Well, yeah, the symbol on Thor's hammer is essentially like a trinity symbol. So these are undeniable connections. Okay. You wish you were as schizophrenic as us, but we didn't come up with these. Okay. These connections are there whether we broadcast and talk about them or not. Okay.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I mentioned that one. Yeah. So Christianity and Jupiter. Well, the cross is Thor's hammer. And all right, I think we made our point. Next, what was next? Do we have Judaism next?
Judaism is next.
Oh boy. It's gonna get exciting, folks. Make sure to get some garlic. Keep some garlic nearby. Okay.
Oh yeah, there's Thor fighting the serpent. Pretty cool old picture there.
Right. Thor fighting serpents and dragons. Also another, commonality with Jesus. Conquering Satan, serpents,
Get behind me, Satan. And then Satan is associated with, Saturn rules snakes. Saturn rules serpents. So to defeat the serpent is to defeat Saturn. Snakes are one of man's few natural predators. No matter where you are, if there's a poisonous snake, it can get you. So they're quite dangerous. Just like Satan, if you are not sober and sound of mind, is out to get you like a roaring lion.
Mm-hmm.
So there he is, Saturn eating his children.
Yep. So now we're going to talk about Saturn, guys. Let's look at something. Go find a picture for Judaism. There's Saturn. Saturn's known for eating his kids. Also known as the Grim Reaper with the scythe. Okay, so god of agriculture and death, time. Yeah, go ahead.
Does any religion bite children? Does any religion bite? I'm scratching the back of I'm scratching my crown chakra. I don't know. I don't know.
That's a good one. Yeah, I never put that. Never connected that. I think that's a bit more. Let's not bite off more than we can chew right now. Okay.
Let's not tunnel too deeply down that rabbit hole.
That rabbit hole.
The T is silent.
The deeper down the rabbit hole you go, the more and more silent the T becomes. Well, yeah.
Just the tip, someone said in chat.
Yeah.
No, man.
Okay. Now, Judaism, guys, is ruled by Saturn. I'm not coming up with this. I mean, thousands and thousands of people have remarked on this throughout history. Conspiracy theorist Jordan Maxwell makes a compelling case for it. And the obvious evidence is Judaism worships on Saturn's day. Saturn's day. Saturn's day is Satan's day. Most people wear black on Saturn's day. Why? Because you can't see the stains. Think about the spiritual implications. Think about the philosophical, moral implications of dressing in black to go party so that your stains won't be as visible. Okay. Right.
That's interesting.
Because that's why people wear black, on Saturn's Day. They're going to dance, they're going to sweat, they're going to get drinks spilled and bumping into dirty people and all that, and you don't want to have to change. That's only one reason people wear black. Another reason is most people say you look better in black, or it's easy to dress in black. So people wear black on Saturn's Day. They go out. They're more likely to commit sins on Saturn's Day. Can we all agree on that? Right. Sunday is when you kind of go seek forgiveness. You sweat it out. Whatever you did on Saturday, you sweat it out on Sunday. Go to the beach, sauna, whatever. Prioritize yourself a little bit more on Sunday, your health, your well-being. Most people go to the beach, or they go to brunch, or they're more likely to spend time outside during the day on Sunday. Saturn's Day is the other way around. Okay. You just had a chance to stay up all Friday night. You can sleep in as late as you want Saturday. Saturday is the day where you're most likely to wake up 1 p.m., go to bed at 4 a.m., whatever. So it's a sinful day, right? Saturn's Day, that's what you'd expect. Now, Judaism chooses to worship on Saturday, but what other connection to Saturn do they have? Well, we'll get to the cube, the yarmulke. Do you have any pictures of yarmulke?
Oh, is that good enough right there? I don't. Besides that, I can go Google. I can find one real quick though.
Go look at Saturn's North Pole. Do you have one of those?
No, I'll get one of it real quick. That'll take 2 seconds.
Okay. Yeah, we can just Google search too. It's okay.
Yeah.
Just look at.
Yeah.
So why do Jews wear yarmulke, people? Does anyone know? Okay. Oh, it's because of this. Oh, it's because the Torah tells us to keep our top of the head covered for, out of humility or kind of reverence, or what's the word I'm looking for? Well, that's one explanation. But the true essential origin, cause of this is to be in harmony with the planet Saturn. Saturn has a yarmulke. Saturn has a 6-sided yarmulke, a cap on his North Pole. Well, now this is NASA photography, so you don't have to say, yeah, that's a real picture. This is probably a fake picture. But why did they feel the need to draw a 6-pointed kippa on Saturn? Why did they feel the need to encode that into Saturn's identity? Okay. And you tell me. Now, the 6-pointed hexagon is the 2-dimensional representation, the 2-dimensional version of a cube.
Mm-hmm.
So a cube in 3D is a hexagon in 2D. That makes sense? And the Star of David, or the Star of Remphan, also fits into the hexagon. And the internal portion, the middle portion of a Star of David, okay, Star of Remphan, is the hexagon. You guys can see that. And instead of one trinity, it's like 2 trinities battling or canceling each other out, right? The masculine and the feminine, the balance. Oh, yeah, Saturn loves balance. Libra loves balance. Lucifer loves balance. Go hear your moral relativists and all these people talk about balance and the essential. Oh, there has to be dark and there has to be light. And all acts are magical acts. Nothing's good or bad, right? These people are operating on Saturnian, philosophy that good and equal are 50-50. Okay. They are on a spectrum instead of being one on top of the other, a hierarchy. Okay. Jupiter believes in hierarchies. Okay. Saturn, believe it or not, people think Saturn's all about domination. And yes, it is, but often through the guise of egalitarianism, case in point being communism, Like, look at our last show. Look at the politics we talked about last show. Communism, socialism, Marxism, Saturnian political movements. They might operate under the guise of, oh, yeah, everyone's equal. Yeah, we're going to help everyone out, right? Oh, kings, bad, right? Royalty, very bad. But what ends up actually happening? You get something even worse, something even more dominant, right? Domineering.
And that's a great Saturn Moon connection there, communism. Because, like you pointed out last show, communism. So the moon's associated, and then to come together has a squishing effect, a compacting effect. So communism brings things together and squishes them. It squishes everyone down to the same level. So yeah, another Saturn Moon connection right there.
Yeah. So guys, the star of Remphan is the signature of Saturn. It is the how would we say this? The logo, the trademark of Saturn. Okay. The hexagon, the 6-pointed star. 666. Why is that so scary? Why is that so bad? Well, it has to do with carbon, which is the most abundant element in the material world, in the universe. So it is almost like the how do we say this? What water is to liquids, carbon is to matter. Does that make sense? It's like the most abundant form. It's like the representative, the most represented example, right? It's what's the word? There's a perfect word for this. It's essentially, by being the most abundant, it represents that class of things on its own, right? Like when we say water, we're kind of saying like liquids, right? Like fluid in general.
The most ubiquitous, maybe?
Yeah, that might be the right word. But carbon, because it's the most abundant element, you can see it as like the representation of the material world, right? We live in a carbon world, right? And this 3D world, so much carbon. Carbon has 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. That's your 666. What else is carbon? What else is carbon? Coal is carbon. Soot, ash, okay? Char, that's carbon. That's Saturn. What has already been burned? What is charred? What is yeah. Santa is also Saturn, by the way. What does Santa give you?
Coal
if you're a bad,
for Christmas.
bad boy.
Yeah.
Coal. That's carbon. That's Saturn. Karma, carbon. You like that? Okay. Saturn is the karmic deity, the punisher, the judge. Santa's like that too. Now, Jews don't. Sorry, Jews. Santa's on our team, but Saturn. Jews do have Saturn. They like Saturn, and Santa and Saturn, they're the same guy. I'm just joking, but Saturn will give you coal too. So that carbon 666 coal connection, it's hitting on this like demiurge Shiva form of Saturn, who created the material world, who created density itself, who imprisoned spirit into matter. Now, I'm not a big Gnostic or I guess that's a bit of a Neoplatonist thing too, right? Spirit imprisoned in matter. But if anyone's to blame for something like that, it'll be Saturn. Saturn's the real demiurge, okay? Now, the Star of David, the hexagon, this is the yarmulke, the kippa, the cap on Saturn. Now, can we look at a picture of a yarmulke, please?
Sure.
6-sided yarmulke. Most of them are 6-sided anyway. You guys will see just how.
Let's see. 6-sided.
Yeah. You see how so many of them are six-sided
Yeah, right there. 1, 2,
already?
3, 4, 5, 6.
That's how most of them look like. I know you keyworded it, but that's how most yarmulkes I've seen in real life look. They have six sides like that. So the yarmulke is a representation or a harmonic. This is sympathetic magic, is what it is.
Like a
It's like
conduit.
it's like voodoo. Okay, it's
Mhm.
the same like the same principle. It's like I have a friend who's dressed up in a blue jacket and brown pants, so I'm going to make a little doll of a blue jacket and brown pants. My friend has a a big red hat. I'm going to make a little voodoo doll with a just like Jupiter has a red dot, okay? And the Hindus
Mhm.
put the red dot on the third eye. Saturn has a little cap. So the Jews put the cap on their North Pole to harmonize with Saturn. This is, thank you in the chat. This is the crown chakra. Jupiter is all about the third eye, Thor's eye chakra on Thursday.
Mhm.
Saturn, who is also Kronos, his Greek name is Kronos. That's where we get chronology, chronic. Okay. A lot of these words are Saturnian or Cronian, Chronosian by nature. Criminal, cruel. Damn, this book just fell on its own over there.
Crooked.
Yep. Bingo.
Yeah.
Yep. Cross, even.
Crotchety old man.
Up there. Next to the coral thing. So yeah. So yeah, CR words, very Saturnian. But then also, what was I gonna say? I forget.
Well,
Anything you want to say, Marlon?
talking about I think you might have brought this up a few episodes ago, but talking about CR and Saturn, right? Saturn rules snakes and generally lizards too, and the crocodile, the one from Captain Hook.
Yeah.
Tick tick tick. Yeah.
The crocodile.
Yeah, nice.
Crocodile.
And that's such an easy RL swap.
Yes. And one of the only animals who seems to conquer time. They don't suffer from time. They die from not being able to keep up with their growth. Okay. It's almost like they have a deficiency in Jupiterian qualities, and they're overly Saturnian, right? Like no time. They don't decay from time, but they can't they expand too much and can't sustain or consume enough to keep up with their growth, their age. So that's what happens to. And since you brought up that crocodile, croc of shit, crook, dial, like o'clock, croc, dial, alligator. To alligate is to connect things or to tie with rope, to like ligature, alligate is to connect things together, to tie things together. Alligate. Allegations, very Saturnian, right?
Yeah,
Alligator.
absolutely. And you brought up chronic earlier. The two malefic planets. To talk about them real quick, right? Saturn rules chronic diseases, diseases that last a very long time. If you're chronically ill, it's for a very long time. That's very Saturnian. Whereas Mars rules short-term stuff like a fever. That's quite Aryan, because where's the fever? In your head, in the Aries part of your body. And then switch the Mars, switch that R to an L, and you have malady. So malady is malaria, malaria in your Aries. So that so the different types of sickness, and going back to what the ancients would say, the ancients believe that there's a quote from, I want to say, Guido Bonatti, maybe Thomas H. Burgoyne, but the malefic rays of Mars and Saturn are responsible for 90% of the illnesses on Earth.
Totally. Let's go back to your slideshow real quick. See what else you got. So we've got the yarmulke being a Saturnian North Pole, mark. And what else about them is Saturnian?
So just we'll notice that both of the benefic religions, right? Because we talked about how Jupiter is associated with Christianity. Christianity has a desire to expand, right? Anyone's welcome. Please convert. Come on in. Islam, we'll talk about, isn't quite pure Venusian, but they are Venusian in nature. They worship on Friday, and they are also quite expansive. Yes or yes, right? Judaism, however, though, is not expansive. It's a special boy club, and you're not invited, right? It's a restrictive religion, and Saturn is a restrictive, shrinking type planet. It's trying to limit things. It's the limiter, right? If it was just Jupiter in the sky, we would never die. But Saturn rules death. Saturn limits your life, and the Saturnian religion limits membership as much as it can. And how do they do that? By making membership through the mother, right? Because a woman can only be pregnant once every so often, right? If it was by the father, one man can get 20 women pregnant in a month. So
Yeah.
it literally naturally keeps things small, and that is very Saturnian.
Yeah. Yeah, good point. And also, if patriarchy is Jupiterian, guys, matriarchy is Saturnian. This whole the dark feminine thing, okay, guys? The matriarchy, very Saturnian. But we'll talk about that another time. What else is Saturnian? Constriction. Saturn has a restrictive influence. Now, what does that have to do with Jewish people? Well, who knows what tefillin is? Tefillin or tefillin. Can you look at the? You had a picture of it. The wrappings. Yep.
Yeah.
This is called tefillin. This is it's almost like electrical tape, but it's like a vinyl or leather cord, a flat cord, or like a tape that is wrapped around the left arm, and that block. What that block is, that black cube, Teflon. Yeah, that's funny. Someone said Teflon. Yeah, it's made of Teflon. Yeah, tefillin, Teflon. But tefillin is this thing that they put on the arm. Now, this is crazy. Okay. Number one, when you put the cube on your forehead, it's compressing your forehead ever so slightly. And some people are going to say, oh, this activates the third eye. No. This smothers the third eye. This oppresses the third eye, and it essentially cancels it out. And when they're putting the yarmulke on, this is emphasizing, also smothering, because I don't believe it's activating in the proper sense, but it's emphasizing the crown chakra. Kronos is where we get the word crown.
Mm-hmm.
The corona is how we say crown in Spanish or Latin. And coronation, right, to be crowned, corona, Kronos is the crown. Saturn's the top chakra. The moon's the bottom. When you moon someone, you show them your bottom. When you are crowned, it goes to the top. Okay? And that's another pathway connection between Saturn and the moon is top to bottom. As above, so below. It's literally saying, as Saturn codes it, that's how the moon prints it. The 3D printer.
Yeah, actually.
Ass above, so below.
Oh, no.
Welcome to the casting couch. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, this tefillin it's essentially, did you guys ever wrap something around suck your lips and make them blow up really, with a Gatorade bottle? You ever do that? Suction your lips with a Gatorade bottle?
No.
And then they're stuck like this for 10 minutes?
Never
You
did
never
it.
did that?
Nah.
Did Did you ever like tie rubber bands around your fingers to where they would swell up, or like your veins would poke out, or they turn colors? You ever have a crazy kid in your class that did shit like that?
I guess so. You know, I get the concept.
This is essentially what tefillin is. They wrap it around the left arm, which is closer to the heart, and you're going to feel the pumping of the heart, of the blood throughout your body. You're going to feel it right under the skin in your left arm. It's very close. And when you constrict the left arm like this, so close to the heart, it affects your blood pressure, or at least you become conscious of your blood pressure and the beating of your heart. Okay. That is so Saturnian. You're constricting it. It's like when they take your blood pressure at the doctors. What do? They squeeze your arm.
Yeah.
Okay? That's Saturnian. The binding. They bind their arm. Saturn rules, like I said, ligature, binding. The whole BDSM, tying people up, so Saturnian. It's not even funny. Okay?
Yeah.
And go ask Rabbi Shmuley. He practically invented that stuff. Okay? That's all Saturnian. The dark, the black, the leather and the vinyl, and that whole like American Horror Story, like GIMP aesthetic is Saturnian, the gothic, and that's a part of, you know, the tefillin thing is you're essentially constricting your arm, and you feel your blood beat in your heart, your blood pulse in your heart beat a little bit. Very constrictive. And you've got the black cube on the left arm, on the bicep, and then one on the forehead. Now, what's inside the black cube are little writings, sayings from the Torah. Sometimes it's a whole Torah, just very microscopic writing. Sometimes it's just a few characters from a verse, but that comes from a gross over materialization. If anyone interprets their religion hyper literally, it's Judaism, Orthodox Judaism, especially because they're told to always keep the Torah on your mind. So what do? Smack it on their mind. Are you kidding? Is that not funny? Is that not like Jesus talking in a parable and it goes right over their head? Don't cast pearls to swine. All right, guys, no more feeding actual pearls to actual pigs. Like, no, that's not what he was saying. He was saying, always keep the Torah on your mind. Always keep the Bible on your head. So they literally slap it on their forehead.
Yeah.
Come on. Pretty funny. So that's one of the reasons they do that, because they're instructed to keep the Torah on their mind. And then also, but yeah, very Saturnian. And as Merlin was saying, like almost like the serpent on the tree, or a snake or a serpent winding around something. But yeah, thoughts, Merlin?
No, 100%. Yeah, the snake connection is it, again, very Saturnian and completely in nature. Do you know, like, do they constrict their arm just like remind themselves of their mortality? Is that why they want to feel their heartbeat like that? Do you know what the actual purpose of the constriction?
Let me check.
Because it's definitely Saturnian, but I wonder why they do it. I get the Torah on the mind, but
yeah, physically connect their mind and heart to God's will. Yeah, and some of the Jews will be like, "Oh, if you're a real Jew, you tie your tefillin on real tight. Don't be a baby. Really feel it tight." So I don't know why they do the constriction thing, what the reasoning is there, but they do it. So,
would you agree maybe that the sects of Christianity that do the self-flagellation, is that also Saturnian in nature, right? That's quite perverted Christianity, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And that's bringing us to another important point, which is Saturn works to infiltrate every religion. Saturn wants to control every religion. And, we said Jesus is the King of Kings, Jupiter's the God of gods, but at the same time, Saturn is the Lord of this world. This world meaning the material world. And the cube is how we make sense of that. The cube is like the emblem of the material world. Show of oranges in the chat. Who has heard of this or makes sense of this? The cube symbolizes the material world, the matrix. It's depth, what is it? Height, width, depth, right? What are the three dimensions?
Breadth, height, and width.
Yeah.
Or something like
Height.
that. Yeah.
Height, width, and depth, right?
Yeah.
I think those are the three dimensions.
Mhm.
And, the fourth is time. So the 3D and the 4D seem to both be, Saturnian. So almost any structure or shape you use to symbolize reality is going to be somewhat Saturnian. Saturn, space and time. What do we live in? A space-time continuum. That's what they say. Okay, that's what the Star Trek losers say. Space-time continuum. Well, that's Saturn. Time, Chronos, Rhea, area. So from Saturn's wife, Rhea, we get area, like Maria. Area. Space and time. Chronology and area. Chronos and Rhea. Isn't that nice, folks? Now, the cube is, as I said, the emblem of the material world. Can we go to another cube picture, please?
Do you want to see the unfolding of the cube yet, or
not yet? Let's talk about Islam first. Okay.
Well, there's a few things I want to bring up with Judaism too, so if that's cool.
Yes.
And just more Moon Saturn connections, guys. It's undeniable the connections between Saturn and the Moon. How long does Saturn take to transit the zodiac? 29.5 years. How long between new moon to new moon? 29.5 days. How many years does Saturn spend in each sign? 2.5 years. How many days does the moon spend in each sign? 2.5 days. So the connections are undeniable. And in 29.5 years, the moon will transit the zodiac precisely 365.25 times. So the connections between them are, dude, it's undeniable. And the last thing to talk about with Judaism, if I may, is the law connection, because they are a very, and real quick, you mentioned Saturn wants to infiltrate. Is there any religion that infiltrates? Never mind. But the law, though, the litigious nature of Judaism, they've got the Torah, which is their one of their holy books, and they also have the Talmud, which is literally rabbis debating over the interpretations of the Torah. Right. And Saturn exalts in Libra, and Libra rules law. Yep. So the Saturn, you go ahead. Yeah.
I was just gonna add to that, Judea, judgment.
Nice.
Judgment. To be adjudicated is to be Judaicated. Okay. Judea, Judas, even, Okay.
That's awesome. Oh, Judas too. Look at that. And then between priests, right? Black is the color of Saturn. What color are the colors of the robes of the judges? Black. So they are literally black priests of Saturn in our courts. And talk about infiltration. When you show up to a court, they allow you to swear on the Bible. So courts, guys, are an entirely ecclesiastical proceeding. It's all religious, but it's all infiltrated and subverted and hidden. You know, the religious aspect, it's crazy how it's both in your face and completely hidden. You know, when a priest walks up to the dais, everybody rises to respect the priest. When a judge enters the courtroom, everybody rises to show respect for your honor, right? So the similarities are so uncanny. And you can see here this picture, guys. It's a picture of the rabbis debating the Talmud. So yeah, just the Libra Law Saturn Jude Judge is a crazy good connection, man. That's awesome. So yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, judicial system.
Nice
Judicial system. But okay. And also, you know, this isn't so much a big thing in America, but wearing a wig as a judge, right? Like all your hair is falling out, right? Putting on fake hair, pretty Saturnian too, right? People say Saturn rules baldness too. Like this, as you get older, you get like the ring of Saturn on your head, right?
I am a Capricorn rising, so there's that.
Well, more OJ, that hair will grow right back. We'll have you looking like a chia pet in no time. Okay.
I'm all out, man.
You know what a chia pet is, right?
Oh yeah. I've never had success in growing a chia pet. I'm pretty good with plants, but chia pets always look like ass.
It's funny.
So Islam time?
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Islam, the third major world religion. I guess it's the second in terms of numbers, but you know, Judaism doesn't come close to Christianity and Islam in terms of numbers. I think there's only like 15 million Jews in the world. Okay. And there's like 17 million Mormons. Mormonism is only like 150 years old, you know, a little more.
That's crazy.
200 years old, 150-ish. And there's more Mormons on earth than there are Jews. But Islam, lots of Muslims, and Islam is ruled by the planet Venus. Venus is the goddess, the god of femininity, beauty, romance, cosmetics, harmony. You know, you could say symmetry, right? A little bit. Venus is also known as Isis, Aphrodite, Freya. That's where we get Fry's Day, Freya's Day. Sorry, did I say Fry's Day? Freya's Day, Friday. What?
No, I'm just messing around. But I pulled up Muslim men. You mentioned femininity, and I see no connection, honestly.
Yeah. Well, look at the one. Go down one. The guy with the picnic cloth on his head. Yeah. Anyone looks like he's dressed like a sourdough starter.
We can never go to the UK now.
with the lid on with like a napkin underneath. Boy's dressed like a sourdough starter. Shane, come here.
We'll never be allowed in Europe again.
Like I said, he's dressed like a sourdough starter.
Funny, yeah, he's fermenting under the napkin.
He's
on the
got,
paper
it's
towel.
like
Yeah.
burping like a mason
Yeah.
jar.
Really funny.
It's funny. All right, now half of them are wearing picnic cloths on their head. The other half are wearing yarmulkes, just extra big yarmulkes. Okay. So right away we're gonna run into an issue here. Islam used to be Venusian, or maybe even pre-Islam. The religion that was there was very Venusian. Go read 1001 Nights, Arabian Nights. very Venusian, women-driven stories. Okay, from
Yeah.
from front to back. Okay, it's women leading the stories, being cunning, brave, wise, and Muslims wouldn't have came up with that stuff. Okay, it's not very representative, or it's not very in accordance with like Islam. But you can see in that culture before Islam, there's undeniably a very feminine quality to the Middle East. North Africa, the Middle East, even all the way down towards India. Islam is pushing up against India, went all the way over to Egypt and across Africa. And we were talking about this with the racial astrology. There's some correlation between the racial astrology and the religious astrology, especially in Muslims and Arabic people, and everything from India to Egypt is Venusian. The men dress like women. The buildings look like women, right? Curvaceous women, breasts. All the buildings look like breasts, and curvy, spires look like women. All very Venusian. The singing, the what's the
wailing,
word?
dude.
Yes.
They're called to prayer as a wail. It's a woman wailing. Oh! Yeah.
Yeah, all very Venusian. They love their sweets in the Middle East. They love sweets and desserts and candy shops and Dubai chocolate.
And now, I would never say this because it's horribly sexist, but some people do think that women are more emotional than men.
Right.
Is there any religion that somewhat emotionally overreacts to the slightest perceived insult?
So there's
Uh,
most emotional religion. Yeah, that's another Venusian trait. And what else is Venusian about these places? The men loved like jewelry and to accessorize, right? Like all the Middle Eastern mall kiosk shop owners, right? Just selling like
yes, dude.
crappy jewelry and perfume and cologne and cosmetics. Middle Eastern men are very metrosexual. They love their eyebrow routine and their yes, I'm so beautiful, and yeah, very Venusian. So racially and religiously, Islam is Venusian. They worship on Friday. Friday is the holy day of Islam. That's Freya's day, Aphrodite's day, Isis day. Islam is Isis-lam. Isis lamb, right? Islam likes lambs and Isis. The scarves, yeah, exactly. The flowy dress, all very feminine. Blowing yourself up, okay? Bitches be like that. Bitches be suicide vesting left and right. Am I right? Boys, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. Islam is the woman of the religions.
By far the least dysgenic religion, hands down.
What does dysgenic mean?
No, sorry guys. Dysgenic is like, there's no polite way to say it. I'll just pull up a definition. We could take a look at it. Is it DY or DI?
Okay, yeah.
All right. Oh, it's DY. My bad. Yeah. My bad. I'll shut up.
So, Venus and Islam. Now, people are going to say, hang on, Islam, the goddess, what the hell? They hate women. Or, I'm generalizing, right? I'm generalizing. I'm voicing some other people's, view of Islam. But, when we think of Islam, we don't think of the goddess and the feminine being exalted okay? It's clearly exhibited in some ways, but as far as actual women or the goddess being, exalted. We don't see it that much. Why is that? Well, Islam has been, I would say, 100%. How would we say this? Hijacked?
Corrupted?
Hijacked. I'm going to say
Okay.
hijacked by Saturn. Maybe even from the very beginning. Okay. If you study the history of Islam, it was almost entirely created by Jewish people. And people are going to say, oh, well, Jesus and everyone in the New Testament. Okay, yes. But by the time Muhammad comes around, there's a huge distinction between Christians and Jews. In Jesus' day, there was no distinction. Okay. If you believe in Christianity, you'd believe the Jews who were following God's directions became Christians, and the ones who did not follow God's directions became Jews. From those Jews, then we get another separation that Islam comes out of. There was a little bit of Christian influence on Islam, undeniably. A Gnostic Christian influence on Islam, undeniably. They seem to have drawn a lot in the Quran from the Gospel of Thomas. That's undeniable. There's almost, like sentence for sentence rips straight out of the Gospel of Thomas. For example, Jesus, I'll give you two examples. Jesus working with toys or bringing toys to life, and then also the manner of his death, okay, being spared as brutal of a death as he's given in the New Testament. So Islam does have Gnostic Christian influences, but aside from those small influences, everything else is Jewish. It's Arabic paganism and Judaism. Islam is a deal that was struck by Muhammad between radical Jewish supremacists and the indigenous pagan Arabic warlords. You had the city-dwelling Jewish elite who is ruling over these trade routes, and who's Muhammad? He's a camelback trader with a D, warlord and trader who goes city from city trading, making goods, meeting all the wealthy Jewish families in different cities. And Medina had a sizable Jewish population. Mecca did too at various times, but Medina was a huge. I mean, my brother and I, we grew up with a Jewish kid whose last name was Medina, right? He was Jewish, right? Yeah. So Muhammad brokered peace deals between, I don't know about peace deals, but agreements, compromises between the Arabic pagan animal sacrificers, all these gods, the jinn, all this wacky stuff, and then the Jews who were in charge of the trade routes, who had power in the city centers, and then there would be warring and clashing, and Muhammad's the one, for example, in Mecca, who said, because we're getting to the cube here. This is why I'm telling this.
Mhm.
Let's go look at the cube. Can we look at the cube?
Absolutely.
Thanks. This cube, the Kaaba, okay. In Mecca, Saudi Arabia, the cube, clearly a Saturnian ornament, clearly a Saturnian, altar or whatever. But where does it come from? What's the story behind the cube in Mecca? Well, guys, this used to be a center of worship for the local Arabic pagan worshipers. The pagan, essentially tribesmen, right? Who had all these jinn and these weird gods. And they had an altar here, or a holy stone, that they would come from miles and miles away and venerate. This is way before Islam, way, way, way before Muhammad. they were coming here and doing pagan worship on this site in Mecca. And then there are these ruling Jewish families, not ruling, but influential, wealthy families, and they don't like this paganism stuff. Muhammad steps into this environment where the Jews are trying to be in control, the Arabs are trying to keep their religion, and Muhammad strikes a deal and makes a whole new religion and says, all right, we're going to do both. We're going to make you both happy, and we're all going to get along right here in Mecca. So there's a little bit of Gnostic Christianity, but it's a fusion of, and I know people say this about Christianity, oh, it's a fusion of Roman paganism with Jesus's, teachings. This is a fusion of not much of Muhammad's teachings at all. It's a fusion of Jewish supremacy and Arabic paganism. That's what. And why do I say Jewish supremacy? Because, guys, the Quran was written by rabbis. You guys know this? Muhammad couldn't read or write, okay?
Peace be upon his name.
Couldn't read or write, okay? The only... Never mind. I was going to say, the only thing Muhammad knew how to read was his prescription for goat AIDS medication.
No.
For goat herpes. My brother didn't like that one. All right. Yeah. So he couldn't read, but essentially he needed someone to write down the stuff for him. So who did he get? I believe Muhammad's second in charge, one of his best advisors, was a Jewish convert who he force converted to Islam, and the guy never forgave him. And this is the most educated guy that Muhammad knew, and helped compose what would become the Quran. Okay, that is that is where we get a lot of the issues in the Quran. I swear to God, did you know that there are purposeful mistakes in the Quran?
I did not know that. That's wild.
Why is that? Because a Jewish guy wrote the Quran and put mistakes in it on purpose because he was so pissed at Muhammad, and he put in mistakes that only a Jewish person could know and could provably verify with what would become the Talmud or the Midrash or the companion texts to the Torah. You would only be able to check the veracity, the validity of the Quran with these Jewish interpretations as a background. I watched a great video on this showing the Jewish origins of Islam. So this goes way back, way back. So we're kind of making the argument that Islam got hijacked by Saturnian, the Saturn cult. But honestly, it was probably concocted by Saturn from the very get-go. Okay.
And what's interesting, right, is a lot of people posit that Christianity is a Jewish vehicle, but it likely is Islam in this case, if what you're saying is true.
Totally.
Yeah.
Islam is the guard dog that got out of hand. Okay. Islam is the broom of Judaism. Okay. It is the guard dog, the monster on a leash, the Frankenstein monster. It is the Frankenstein of Judaism.
Great metaphor.
The creation that got way out of hand. Okay. It's almost like the flood in Halo. Okay. There's like the Christian humanity. There's like the Jewish, like radical alien elite. elites, right? The elites, the brutes, the
Mm.
prophets. And then there's like the Islamic flood that just like, and the elite want to unleash the Covenant and Halo want to unleash the flood onto the universe, right? Because they want the whole world to go up in a holy war anyway, right? You see the parallels with Halo and the Bible and stuff like that.
This picture is live from the UK right now.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's actually a schoolgirl in the Master Chief costume.
Permission to leave the ship. What's that for, Chief?
Oh, long goes up. Oh, you cut
No.
out for a second there.
I just went into Master Chief mode.
Oh, gotcha. I honestly never played Halo, man. I never played Halo growing up.
It's really good. Really good.
Nice.
But all right. Islam was concocted and created and handicapped, crippled, sabotaged from the get-go. It's like how they say it's like how parts of Hinduism are not like honest, like developments or like local. They're not like local concepts, or they didn't develop there organically. You know, there's the story of the Aryans coming into India, right, in ancient times, and bringing all these improvements and updates, but at the same time, the caste system, right, and they wanted to keep wanted to keep certain elements of the population down, right, kind of oppressed or in their proper place, right, and a lot of these like poop rituals and poop habits in India of like cow poop and the cow dung, food fight, all that crap was essentially like a humiliation ritual encoded into the religion by the Aryan elite to humiliate the lower class people. Like, oh my God, are they actually going to brush their teeth with the poop? Did they really believe us when we said that? Like
It makes so much sense, honestly.
And that is like, after a couple generations, you're gonna forget it's a joke or a punishment, and you're gonna like revel in the poop festival because you think that's like your heritage and your people. And it's almost the same thing with Islam. Islam is so, with all due respect, not really, I don't know, don't hang me, is so dumb and backwards because it was encoded to humiliate itself. It was designed and programmed to humiliate itself by the disgruntled Jewish scribes who were forced to compose the Quran. Go look it up.
Check private chat real quick in the StreamYard. Just FYI.
Okay.
And can I put some respect on Islam for a second with something? Real quick?
Totes. Yeah, sorry.
So-
I like Islam. I like Muslims. Okay. I know
Yeah.
those Muslims. I'm only teasing.
It's all in good fun, guys. And since we are an astrology podcast, what's undeniable is that a lot of the best astrology and the best progress of the science outside of the ancient Greeks and the Egyptians that came before them was under some of the Islamic caliphates. And one of the best books for astrology is a book called The Introduction to the Science of the Judgments of the Stars by Abu Mashar. And what I have right here on the screen is just a part of the introduction. And this is just, some of the best astrology that Islam has to offer, my humble opinion. And this is 2 seconds. It's a good read. In the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate, praise be to God who created the heavens and the earth and the wonders which are in them, and who made the planets as embellishments and lamps, and appointed them as indicators and guidance to follow, and made the earth a resting place, and decreed its nourishment in it, and there is no God but God alone. Amen. He has no partner, and the praise of God be upon Muhammad the Prophet, his slave and messenger, and upon his family, much peace. So, when you read through astrology books, guys, a lot of introductions are very similar to this because the author, especially back in the day, and even today, right? How often, when we practice astrology, do we have to justify that no, we're not worshiping the stars, we love God, we revere the one creator, but he works through the luminaries, through the heavens. And like what it says right there is like he put the planets as embellishments. God put the planets here as embellishments and lamps and appointed them as indicators and guidance to follow. God put the planets there for the signs and for the seasons. So just a little bit of excellent Islamic astrology right there for you.
What's up, Bland? I'm 29. I just turned 29. Thank you. Appreciate the support. I hope you like it.
Blaine's reading some Francis Yates.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
We got 407 in the chat. Thanks
Let's go.
to everyone for being here. Hope you're enjoying the show. We're talking about the planets behind each major world religion. We've covered Christianity. Then we talked about Judaism. Now we're on Islam. So yeah, Venus. Not much Venus to be seen overtly in the religion today. But Saturn. Let's go back to the cube for a sec. And the people...
the Kaaba?
Yeah, the Kaaba.
You got it. Mm-hmm.
So the Kaaba, essentially, one of Muhammad's closest advisors, companions, was a man by the name of, hang on. Abd Allah ibn Salam, companion of the Islamic prophet Muhammad and a Jew who converted to Islam, participated in the conquest of Syria and Palestine, but died in Medina. Now, he's not believed to have composed the Quran himself, but he is believed to have been Muhammad's primary teacher and tutor when it comes to the Old Testament, because Muhammad couldn't really read or write at all. And he had to be taught this, or, they would recite the Old Testament to him. And this Jewish guy was essentially pulling jokes on him and would tell him twisted versions of Bible stories. And he would believe them. And no one, it was like the emperor's new clothes. People would be like, for example, they confuse Aaron. I think they put Aaron in just a wrong timeline, totally wrong period of time. They put different characters in the Bible in totally wrong they put different characters from the Bible in totally wrong places. And no one who's Muslim can speak up about this because you would be questioning Muhammad. So how funny is this? It's like Denethor, right? That's Denethor, is that Denethor? King of Rohan? Yeah. Denethor has Grima Wormtongue whispering, Grima Wormtongue, total Jew, by the way. No one talks about that, but I'm just joking, okay? Totally joking. Grima Wormtongue, nice guy, great people, proud American, great patriot. They're good for the country. Grima's people have always been in Rohan.
Mm-hmm.
They helped win the, all right. So Grima Wormtongue is able to talk into the king's ear. And then when the king says it, even though everyone knows it's false and wrong and bullshit, and it's going to result in just nothing good happening, they can't question it because it came from the king. Does that make sense? So if you're one of Muhammad's, underlings, or one of his vassals, or one of his, subjects, and you know the Bible really well, and then Muhammad comes along, he's like, Moses was, Jesus's uncle, or something like that. I mean, they make mistakes. They make mistakes as bad as that in the Quran, where their timeline is totally fudged up, and no one will say anything or have the balls to ever call it out, because you can't call yourself a Muslim in that case, because you're not following Muhammad. If Muhammad's interpretation was a false interpretation, well, sucks to suck. That's your interpretation now. You've got to stick with it. So it's believed that Islam was programmed, encoded with viruses, mistakes, sabotaged to reveal itself to competent people who know the Bible just a little bit. Islam can never pass the sniff test. At least not the scriptures. Maybe their conduct, or their code of conduct, or morals, or ethics can be, applauded or something. I don't think so. But the scripture has a lot of issues. Okay.
Is that why there's really no astrotheology for Islam? People get upset about the astrotheology of Christianity, but at least there is astrotheology. Judaism has astrotheology. Islam, not so much. They got tails.
Right. So Islam is actually Saturnian. It was encoded with a Saturnian thread, a Saturnian core from the very beginning. As time went on, that became more and more obvious, more and more overt, and to the point where, can we go back to the cube real quick?
Of course.
I was telling the story of Muhammad essentially brokering a deal or a compromise between the Jewish trade, leaders, and the local pagan Arabic, population, kind of like serfs, right? Or like peasant population who would refuse to give up on their pagan worship. Muhammad fused them together and said, all right, guys, we're going to make everyone happy. That place you guys really like to worship your pagan gods and your demons and your deity, your jinn deity, okay? We're going to wrap that in a Saturnian cube, and so no one really knows what's in there. And we're going to do, what do they call that? Circumventing?
Yep.
Circumambulating, is that how do you say it? Circumambulate, yeah, that's right. And why are they going around the cube? Guys, have you ever seen like a magnetic rock or like a piece of food dropped on the floor, and the bugs or like ants start doing look this up, guys, seriously.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's magnetism, sometimes it's just like a flavor or a scent that can drive them crazy. Also, what are smells, people? What are smells?
Oh, gross.
Smells are like, I hate when people say vibration or frequency, but smells are like a frequency, right? If color is visible light spectrum and sound is also on that electromagnetic spectrum, smell is also going to show up somewhere. It smells like a combination of somewhere in between sound and flavor, right? All right, whatever. So
what's interesting is smell is the one that's most associated with memory. So like you remember bad smells more than bad tastes or bad sights or a bad touch. The bad smell really sticks with you.
Suck my balls, otter dog. Go watch some other fucking gay ass astrology podcasts. This might not be the show for you. Sorry. Go watch a Muslim podcast. What do you expect? Go watch a Muslim astrology podcast or something. All right.
Should we lie to you? Would you rather be lied to?
Yeah, let me make you feel real comfy tonight. Let's just email me this. Yeah, email me the script for next show. Yeah, and throw a picture of your mom's tits on there too while you're at it. Thanks.
He could read. He wrote the whole Quran by himself. What do you want, dude?
Wait, who said that? Did someone say that?
No,
Or
no,
just-
no. I'm just saying, what could we say? And it's whatever, you know. We're Christians, man.
That stung, huh? You wish. No, actually. Oh, it stung so bad. Oh my god. Actually, I'm gonna hop off the show and I'm gonna forget you ever even existed. That's the beauty. As long as you live your life, you'll never forget that I existed. I don't even know who you are, and I don't. You're whatever. Okay, you're like a little rat. I say this all the time. Yeah, that really stung when I heard a rat nibbling on my trash can, and I went running out to the garage with a flash. Wait, what was that? A little rat flies across. That's all I know about you. So, all right. Thanks for tuning in, though. And if you want to sting me, you're gonna have to do better than that. What are you, Muslim or something? All right.
You ever watch Mad Men, bro?
No.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. All right. It's kind of a shitty drawing anyway. All right. To the cube.
Yeah. So the cube is okay. The cube is Saturn showing up again. The cube on the forehead of the rabbis, the cube of the Orthodox Jews, the same cube that the Muslims are worshiping. Okay, this is another Saturnian infiltration on Islam. And hey, it happens in Christianity too. Why does the Pope wear a yarmulke?
Mm-hmm.
The Pope wears a yarmulke.
The noble king.
Here.
Go ahead.
No, never mind. It's okay.
No, what's up? What's up? You say here what?
No, nothing.
Okay.
Never
But yeah,
mind.
the noble king wears his crown over his third eye, whereas the corrupted king wears his crown over his crown chakra.
Yeah. Exactly. This is called a lodestone.
Nice.
Lodestone. Shout out to Benji. Shout out to the Archivist. The Archivist YouTube channel. He was live a couple days ago. He's big on the lodestone. We've done a couple shows about that. And lodestone. Let me look up Saturn and lodestone. I forget some of the great connections he makes. But essentially, like, hang on. So yeah, so Saturn is inherently linked to lead and lodestones, because lodestones are often called leading stones or leading stones. Leading stones. And what is in the Kaaba? Okay. Maybe we should have started off with that. The Kaaba is a cube, but that cube is like a case. It's like a protective case. And what's poking out of that protective case is a little slit. I don't know if you can see this. The black stone itself that's actually protected by the Kaaba is small bits, like very, very small. Like, I think like no bigger than this. It's my grinder. No bigger than this. Okay. Like they're little bits of meteorite. Search meteorite Kaaba opening. Yep, top right. So when we say it's Venusian, well, kind of, because there's like a vagina on the corner of the Kaaba. And that's what everyone's really trying to touch. So some people will just touch the walls of the cube, but if you're really a good Muslim, you're going to get in there, you're going to fight to the front, and you're going to kiss or touch that black stone in the middle. It's big. I said it was like this size. I was wrong. I guess it's a little bit bigger than that. It's hard to tell with that fisheye picture, but it's no bigger than a hand. Oh, okay. I guess it's like the size of a head. Sorry, guys.
Interesting.
I haven't been there. Okay, sorry. But I guess as big as a head, I stand corrected. An opening the size of a head, roughly. And people fight to touch it, rub it. It's been smoothed and potentially even blackened through repetitive touch over time. And what that is it's a piece of believed to be meteorite with strong lodestone properties. Okay, so highly electromagnetic and potentially from space or from the firmament, a fallen star, fallen shrapnel, whatever you want to call this. Allah's pagan vagina. Yeah, that's another good way to say it. Make sure to stop by the go through the drive-through on your way to, make sure to take the drive-through at the cube. But okay, it comes from space. Did you know that, how in Mormonism they talk about like, oh, every person's going to get their own planet and their own solar system? And
Yep.
did you know that they took that from Jewish mysticism?
No, I did not.
Judaism believes that in the Messianic age, when the whole world is redeemed or resurrected, that each human, each soul is going to get their own world. Their own world. And when they looked up at the stars, they would say each star is its own world. This is way before any solar system. So when we talk about like sci-fi being like a uniquely like Jewish thing, that goes back to Jewish mysticism, where they actually used to look up at the stars and say those are infinite worlds. They're some of the first people to ever think like that. And that would then come to become a scientific fact, right? That each of those little lights out there is its own world. That is Jewish mysticism. That's not a component of any other world religion until after Judaism. Okay, Mormonism draws from it. Scientology is a little bit like that, but essentially, Star Trek. Star Trek is also built on Jewish mysticism.
100%. And the word Kirk means church. So when people watch Captain Kirk, they're watching Captain Church.
And the vector, and the that's a Jewish symbol. That was like how the Israelite priests, that was one of their like hand signs. But okay, the magnetic properties of this lodestone like compel people to circumvent it or circumambulate it. Okay. So let's see, what else can we say? That's the Saturnian cube of Islam. And yeah, what else?
After Islam, we have the
Thank you.
Yes.
Perfect. This is a great talk. People, since we just explained how, Islam has so much Jewish influence and it's kind of seems to have been hijacked, or it's answering the same, compulsion to like worship Saturn, right? It's for some reason. Well, a lot of people like to say that about Christianity. A lot of people think, and we've already talked about it a little bit, say Christianity is just another Saturnian religion, guys. All three Abrahamic religions are just Saturnian psyops. I don't believe that. I don't think that's true at all. I think you're really missing the point if you think that.
Mm-hmm.
The cross is the unfolding, the unraveling of the Saturnian cube. Okay, make sure we're interpreting this correctly. Yes, the cross is constructed from the cube, but it's not the same as the cube, right? Bye-bye. Thank you. Good night. The Saturnian cube is unfolded. If the Saturnian cube represents the imprisonment of the soul into matter, the material world, the matrix, okay, the inescapable, what's the word? The unavoidable, inescapable confines of this universe, then the cross is the unfolding of that. Cross is the unfolding. It is the unraveling, the deconstruction, and I would argue the freeing, the liberation of the soul from matter. You deconstruct time, you deconstruct matter. Christianity is the most transcendental, literally transcendental, to the truest definition of the word, transcendental, meaning you literally rise above, transcend. It's not even close. Christianity is the most transcendental. So with this cube, guys, let's not be retarded and say, oh, the cross is just the cube. Well, how are they different? What are we to make of the difference? Okay, that's what I think is important. Thoughts on the cube, Merlin?
Yeah, it literally is the expansion of the of, like we were saying, like the expansion of the cube, and like again, Christianity is the expansive religion, and the cube is compact, right? We were talking about how the Saturn is constricting, right? And what's interesting, and you mentioned fatalism, like Christianity is about rising above, where honestly, going back to Islam for a second, it's quite fatalistic because they almost like Christianity is all about free will. You have the ability to try to be like Jesus, but a common Arabic saying is inshallah, which means if God wills it. And that almost like is like a surrendering. Oh, I can't help it. I'm sitting here, like at the poo poo festival. My life isn't great, but so I'm going to die one day. It's very fatalistic. Whereas, Christianity does provide that ability to rise above. But of course, it all, does go through God's will. But God gave us free will. He wants us to take action and do the right thing. So, yeah, but like specifically on the cross, like you hit on the nail on the head that it's just the expansion of the cube. The Jupiterian symbol, like I was drawing on the screen earlier, the Saturn symbol, guys, is a cross over a semicircle, and that's constricting. It's very small. Whereas the Jupiterian circle leaves room for expansion. There's room to grow with this circle. It could be a big old circle. So
Right.
you can see that too manifesting in the cube and the cross, right? The cube is small, the cross is large.
Yeah. Yeah. What else? What other pictures you got? Oh, that's a good one.
Oh yeah, the Gnostic cross. This is cool. This is just like the cross you were looking at, except this one is encoded with astrology too. And what's cool about the Gnostic cross and driving the point that Longo has been making, this is going to drive it home, right? On each side of the cross. So like what you see here, guys, there's like a north, east, south, and west, above and below. Now, right? Okay, well, first off, what's on the below side? The moon. Other side, the above, Mercury. So those are two ends of the mind. And Longo was saying before, the moon's at the bottom, it's the root chakra. So at the bottom of the Gnostic cross is the moon. Also, interestingly, just to know how this thing works, this is what it looks like when it's in a cube form, right? So you'll see here that like Aries is on the corner of the north side of the cube and also the east side of the cube. So what this is doing is showing all sides of the cube right here. However, going back for a second, right? So each side is ruled by a planet. but one planet's missing because there are 2 luminaries and 5 planets in the sky. You've got Mars, you've got Venus, you've got the Moon, you've got Saturn, or rather not Saturn. You have the Sun, you have Jupiter, and then you have Mercury. Which planet is missing from the Gnostic cube? Saturn, because the cube is Saturn. And yes, indeed, think outside the cube, expand that cube, right?
Yep.
But the cube is Saturn. That's why Saturn's not on
Yep.
the cube. It is the
Now,
cube.
Saturn, when we say satyr or satyr, that's a goat, right? Or a goat being.
Mhm.
And Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, the goat. Box, cube is a box, right? Bok means goat.
Mm.
Bok beard, that's the goat's beard. Bok beer is goat beer, like drinking beer. So beards, drinking beer. If you know Bok, you'll know that Bok means goat. Box is another Saturnian word, therefore. So, yeah, and you're
That's
right. That's a
awesome.
good point about Saturn missing from the cross.
And then what we've got too is if you want to get into with the Lamb and Ram of God stuff, making some of those connections, if we still got the time for it.
Yeah, let's focus on Buddha. If we got to squeeze in anything, let's focus on Buddha a little bit. And then we can probably wrap it up.
Okay.
Yeah, the Sarah and Cerebrum and a lot of that. We're just gonna have to do another show for that or something.
Okay.
Let's do Buddhism. I know it's good stuff. I know you're excited to talk about it. Me too, but let's do Buddhism only.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. Now, we talked about the 3 Abrahamic religions, and there was a lot we planned on talking about, but I guess this was just a very juicy, dense topic already. We're going to get to some of that. But we were going to talk about Abraham a lot more. We're not going to get to, but that's okay. But we need to talk about Buddha because Hinduism is kind of hard to compare to the other religions, But Buddhism is actually, even though Buddhism, people love to say, "Oh, it's not a religion. It's not a religion." Well, actually, it's not a religion. Did how many times I hear that a day? You guys wouldn't believe it. Okay. But Buddhism can be compared to the other 3 religions, Abrahamic religions, because it's by being kind of not God oriented. And again, sorry, Ken Wheeler. I mean, maybe I completely have a misconception about Buddhism, and that's okay. If anything, I'm talking about modern day Buddhism, recent Buddhism. So sorry, but being that modern Buddhism is more or less atheistic by nature or extremely compatible with atheism, it actually turns it into a quasi monotheistic religion. It's actually kind of very easy to classify and collect into this kind of a single thread. Whereas Hinduism, it's like impossible to find one, thread to the whole religion, because they have an easier time making the argument it's not one religion. It's a whole ecosystem of beliefs, and that's true. But Buddhism, we can kind of qualify and classify pretty easily. And with astrology, there's a perfect, clean, and neat planetary association. So I thought we had to mention it.
Mm-hmm.
Buddha, guys, Buddha is kind of like a title, right? It's like Jesus Christ, right? There can be multiple Buddhas. There have been multiple Buddhas. Some people say Jesus was a Buddha. But the word Buddha with 1 D is how we say Mercury in Sanskrit. So Mercury in Sanskrit is Buddha. Mercury, the god of thinking, communication, education. What else does Mercury rule?
Short journeys, commerce.
Yep.
But yeah, Mercury is the active part of the mind. So much about Buddhism is trying to shut off the active part of the mind, conquering the Mercury. Astrologically, the mind is composed of two planetary bodies. You've got Mercury, ruling the active thinking part of the mind. That's why it's air and earth, because it takes those airy, active thoughts and grounds them in your earthy head. Whereas the moon is pure water, just straight up the motion, the emotion of the ocean. The moon's all emotion. It's your mood, mood. N and D are both very down negative letters. So you swap the N to the D, moon, mood. So the moon is your emotions, whereas Mercury is the active mind. And like Longa was saying, the word Buddha, especially in Vedic astrology, which is trash astrology, but they call Mercury Buddha. They don't call it Mercury, they call it Buddha. Oh, your Buddha is in the 12th house, your Buddha is in Aries.
Yep.
And they're off by a sign because it's shit astrology, but they do call it that.
Now, when they joke that Buddha's fat, who knows what a Buddha belly is? Okay. You ever heard someone say Buddha belly, right? Like a little pot belly.
Oh yeah.
Okay. What's being highlighted there is the Mercury chakra. The Mercury chakra. The lower belly. Okay. Venus and Mercury. The Mercury chakra and the Venus chakra, but especially the Mercury one. Yeah, kind of a bulging belly. It's kind of like Jesus pointing to his third eye or bleeding out of his, forehead, or highlighting that part of the body. Well, all right, guys. Buddha
belly.
Yeah. Yeah, you see that? It's like below the belly button. It's like the Mercury chakra.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Fits perfectly.
So yeah, Buddha is mercurial. So remember, we're not reducing these guys to just a planet and we're not saying, oh, they didn't exist. They're just actually this planet. No, I guess what we're kind of saying is Gautama was team Buddha. He was mercurial. His ministry was mercurial. He's aligned with Mercury by name, by virtue, whatever. Jesus is aligned with Jupiter. He's not just Jupiter. He's not just the sun. He's aligned with both of these hero archetypes. If anything, he has no choice but to be identified with them because he exceeds them in virtue. He exceeds them. Okay? Jesus is the only person to ever exceed the sun in discipline, in warmth, in abundance, in virtue, right? If the sun is the model of what a great man can be, and only one person ever did better than the sun, then Jesus is forever associated with the sun. Okay? All the other sun gods fell. Go find, yes. Oh, Jesus is just Apollo. Jesus is just Helios. No, all those fucking losers fell or sinned or did something. They had a fall from grace. Each of those people lost or were humbled, or not Jesus. Okay. Mercury, Buddha, that's it for me. Anything else?
No, it's crazy. And people, it's this fucking retard in the chat. It's like, oh, you guys think Buddha's Mercury? We didn't make that up, you fucking room temperature IQ retard. Okay? Buddha literally is Mercury. The Buddhists fucking say that. I don't give a fuck, man. I think Mercury is Mercury. I think Mercury is Thoth Hermes Trismegistus, symbolically. I'm with the ancient Egyptians. But it just is. It's a 1-to-1, and Buddhism is about conquering the active mind. So
yeah, totally.
Yeah, man.
All right. So guys, that is the planets and the major world religions. We planned on talking about Abraham a little bit and Hinduism a fair amount. We're not going to have time, but we'll do it again. Wow, insult your chat. Yeah, great idea. LMAO. Oh, hey, Tierney. You know what you just showed us? You care a lot about what people think about you. Okay? You care a heck of a lot. You care so much about what people think about you. You're getting secondhand embarrassment because of your own pride and insecurity. Okay? I don't care what these people say. I don't care. I've told my subscribers to unsubscribe before. Okay. I've never asked for a subscriber in my life. I'll insult whoever I want. People don't watch Old World Florida to get patted on the head and oh yeah, I love you. You're so nice. No. Okay. And we didn't insult our chat, by the way. We insult idiots no matter where they are, in our chat or in somewhere else, in your chat. Okay. And by the way, I don't care. Why do you care? If someone's disrespecting us or nipping at our heels or tugging on our sleeves, and they're disrespectful and they're not watching the whole show, okay, and their question's been answered 10 times already in the show, then screw them. I don't care.
And I obviously wasn't insulting the chat. I was insulting one person.
Yeah.
Who literally didn't get it, and it's like, dude, and he's been spamming the whole time because he's just a fucking troglodyte. So it's like, dude, like.
And Tyranny, I don't mean to pick on you. Okay, I'm sorry. We actually share. If that's your last name, we share a last name. Okay, maybe we're kin. I'm not trying to pick on you. And you were being very lighthearted when you said it, but. That's not integrity. That's the opposite of integrity, is bending to your chat's will, bending to making everyone in the chat happy all the time. No, I don't care. Okay. Pick your customers. Don't beg for customers or beg for support. Pick your supporters, whatever. All right. If you can put up with me, I'd rather have people who can put up with me. Okay. Not people who want me to make them happy or, keep their feelings or blah, 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 blah. Whatever. All right. And honestly, I think it's more honest and authentic to be insulting sometimes to your chat instead of, if you're always kissing everyone's ass, that's not authentic.
Yo, Longo, did you mention a code in the Quran?
I mentioned that it was encoded or like sabotaged with faulty information.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. It was encoded with something like that.
Gotcha. They didn't know what encoded meant, I guess. Okay.
I don't know about like a Da Vinci Code type thing. Maybe there is. I don't know. I was referring more to like the sabotaging, purposeful sabotaging.
Yeah.
Of it. All right, guys.
Let's hope Longo's okay. What do we got? Well, since the floor is mine, folks, what we're going to do, let's hope Longo's okay. Where's the blank screen? Check this out, guys. Where's the... I had a blank slide somewhere. Where's the blank slide for a little whiteboard? Nowhere. Whatever. Let's erase this. So.
Get out of here. Don't come by my store ever again.
Oh.
Looks like you're going through my mailbox. What it looks like. All right, well, prove it to me. Get the fuck away from me. Nice to you, plenty. Get the fuck out.
Yeah, sorry about the strobe warning, guys. My apologies. I was trying to find a blank slide. Yo, is your mailbox all right, dude? What happened?
Oh, could you hear that?
Yeah, a little bit, dude.
Whoops.
Yeah. You let him fucking have it, dude.
Homeless person going through our mailbox.
Yeah.
On our door. So All right.
Sheesh.
Sorry. Okay, that was. I didn't think you guys could hear me. Sorry.
You're good, man.
Yeah, we have a mailbox on our door, and this hobo was going through, like, poking their fingers into the mailbox. All right.
Dude.
What did I say? I forget what I forget what I said.
We were just wrapping it up. I was going to go into a little bit of etymology, but like if you want to wrap it up, we'll wrap it up. So
Yeah, let's go to YouTube for a sec. Wise Wizard Merlin. Guys, if you aren't already, go subscribe to Wise Wizard Merlin on YouTube. Merlin's channel. He had a good stream earlier today. Saturn's fall in Aries. Go support. Make sure you subscribe. And also, go check out my backup channel, Dr. Narco Longo. Both these links are in the chat, in the YouTube chat. Wise Wizard Merlin and Dr. Narco Longo. Make sure to get. I was just saying I don't ask for subscriptions, but I ask for subscriptions on my backup channel. If you're subscribed to Old World Florida, maybe you should subscribe to my other channel. If you don't want to subscribe to either, then that's fine by me. Okay, whatever.
And yeah, eventually, guys, the astrology streams will get ripped down from Old World Florida, and they will be on Dr. Narco Longo primarily. So if you enjoy the astrology content, make sure to hit that one up because eventually it will not be available on Old World Florida, but it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, good point. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this. And we might do a part 2 of the stuff we couldn't fit in. There's definitely some good material. Peace.
Peace out. Have a good night.
Oh, wait, hang on. Talk for a couple more seconds. Let me cue the music up.
Yeah, sure. So we got a banger song coming at you.
What
and just
next episode? What I know we said we'll maybe do part 2, but what other ideas do we have for upcoming episodes?
Ooh, we're gonna spoil everybody. Sure. So I mean, stuff we have coming up. We have Uranus, the Genius Janitor. Well, that's gonna be a redux of that one. And it's almost Aquarius time, so we're coming up on that. We can do it within the next 30 days. Then we're looking also at we're going to start getting into, guys, the casting couch. Again, the whole idea is that you cast a chart and you cast people for roles. So we will eventually be talking about movies, and we've got the astrology of Shakespeare coming up soon. We've got potentially some Stanley Kubrick movies coming up soon. Won't tease which one, but a banger Stanley Kubrick movie. And then beyond that, there were several ideas in the works. We've got a stream that we're going to do eventually, sooner rather than later, with Saturn Rooster on celestial harmony, dealing with the connections between music, the planetary bodies, and astrology, and how that manifests on Earth in architecture, in the construction of instruments, and in the literal size of Earth, which is all cool. It's all celestial harmonics. So that's just a few of the episodes to come.
Totally. All right, guys. See you next Saturday. Might do a show before that. Who knows? But Saturday, for sure. All right. Everyone have a good night. And let's jam out a little bit.
get back. Do you know I'm true?